I think that Procreate is hands down the best drawing application available on the iPad, and I think it's an absolute steal at only £10 to basically own it forever, very much unlike certain other pieces of software out there. It does have its drawbacks though, it's not a perfect piece of software, and there is one thing in particular that does really annoy me that I feel like they should fix, and I'm going to be talking about all of that later on. So yeah, Procreate is basically a digital drawing pad, and it's built from the ground up for drawing, as opposed to Photoshop that's built for photo manipulation and also happens to do drawing. Procreate also has its own library that you can add to. For example, I added some of Aaron Blaze's brushes here, and you can even do some light animation on it too. I say light though because frames on here count as different layers, so you can't really do a lot of layers within a single frame. Everyone on the same page? Okay, great, so let's move on. So for me, Procreate just does everything right when it comes to using it on a tablet. It's very fast and very stable in my experience, no lag or anything like that, and I also haven't come across any crashes either. And all the buttons are good sizes and are in good positions, with some of them being towards the right, which are easy to get to, and other ones being at the left, which can be gotten to with your finger. It also has a lot of useful gestures which can all be customized, and I also love the layers interface. All of the layers are very nice sizes, it's very easy to manipulate them, rename them, put an alpha lock on them and stuff like that. If you want to duplicate them, you just swipe to the side and duplicate, or lock or delete. And yes, there's a brush library, and many of the pre-installed brushes are actually really good. Most of the ones that I actually use are the pre-installed ones. I do have some brushes from Aaron Blaze, who's a art teacher and a director online. And yeah, even though I've got his, I do use his occasionally, but most of the ones I use are the default brushes. And as you may have noticed, you can make your own folders. There's a little plus button up there to make a new folder. And adding new brushes to folders are as simple as going onto one, long pressing on it like that, and then tapping with your finger over to where you want to add it and just dropping it in. And then if you want to get rid of it, swipe and delete. And of course, you can also rename the folders that you make just by tapping on them and going to rename, but you can't do that for pre-installed ones, and you also can't delete them too. And not only can you duplicate and rename folders, but you can do it for brushes too. For example, I did it with the studio brush, with one of them being without smoothing, which if I tap on it, as you can see, the streamline is not there. That's basically the smoothing. And for the other one, there is streamline. There's a lot of streamline, so this one's going to be really smooth. And as you can see under here, there's a whole lot of settings. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's videos that do that, but yes, you can customize the brushes as much as you want, and you can customize the folders as much as you want, as long as you make new ones. So yeah, as you will probably noticing, Procreate is very heavy on customization, which is always great. And for while you're in the process of drawing, people often like to use references. I'd recommend using references. And what you can do is obviously have a window to the side here with leaves, for example. But Procreate actually has references built within it too, which is very handy. You can go to the gear icon and go to Canvas, then References, and it brings up this little window. You can either use it to see the full canvas, so if you're zoomed in, you still get to see the full thing. But you can also go to image over here too, and then just simply drag this onto that. And you can also resize this too, and basically put it wherever you want. And you can use that as a reference. You can also add a drawing guide too, which you can get to by going here, then going to drawing guide, and then going to edit drawing guide. And from here, you can actually have a perspective guide. So I've actually got one already, which is why it's showing it here. So I basically use that to see the perspective here. And then when you're done with your drawing, it doesn't only give you the option to export a PNG, but you can also export a time-lapse, which you can get to by going to video and then going to export time-lapse video. You can either select full length, which basically just exports it at its full length, or you can do 30 seconds, which is great for social media. You can export it along with the PNG, and then if people want to see the picture, they can see the PNG, but on Instagram, they can also swipe to the side and see your video, which you'll put alongside it. It's great for things like that. or just for showing somebody your drawing process without them having to have the full video. It's really great, and I do this basically every time I put a picture on Instagram. And then when it's done, you can either copy it or send it somewhere, or save it to files, or just save it to your camera roll. Or you can check with all of these, just the usual really. As I said, Procreate has a whole lot of gestures. You can undo by tapping with 2 fingers on the screen, and that undoes it, and then with 3 fingers redoes it. Or is a redo, I don't know how you say it. Obviously 2 fingers is to zoom in and out, but then if you pinch it like that, it snaps it to fill the screen, and 4 fingers will get rid of the interface and put it back again. There's also a little button here that lets you do more gestures, although I never use it, but you can set that within the settings that I showed before. But one gesture that I do love is the gesture to fill things in. If you, for example, make a circle like that, you can go and drag and drop it on and it will fill in the color. You can also change what area it will fill it into. So if I get rid of the color and I just, cut it in sections, and then I go to drag and drop the color on, and I don't let go, but I just keep it held there. As you can see, you can select the threshold by dropping it and then moving it left and right. This comes in handy a lot when Procreate doesn't guess the right amount you want to fill in. And by the way, speaking of gestures, one thing that you should absolutely do is go to gesture controls and then go to general and disable touch actions. If this is enabled, you would be able to draw with your finger, which isn't going to be fun because you'll accidentally do that a lot. And on Procreate, there's also transformation tools too and selection tools. So the selection tools are available here. You just basically select what you want like that. And this will basically just let you move that selection. But one thing that I find really annoying about this is that if you transform things and you change their scale, it actually just destroys the quality for some reason, I don't know why. And this is something that's incredibly annoying. It's not just when you do thin lines like this, it just basically happens all the time. The amount of time that I've had to spend going over these lines again when I've had to scale them down because I made something a bit too big or something like that is just a lot. Photoshop seems to handle it fine, so I just don't know why this happens, and I wish they would fix it. I would literally pay money if they fixed it. And also, for some reason, selection just doesn't work between layers. So for example, if I do a circle again like that, and then I go to a new layer and I want to fill it in, it's just not going to fill it in. It's going to fill the whole screen in because it just doesn't see the layer underneath it. There might be an option buried somewhere that I don't know of. If there is, please let me know because this thing really annoys me. It is the thing that annoys me that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Like, it's very, very obvious just looking at it that when I'm dropping a color on, it's going to be within that area. So I wish at least I had the option to do that. And as I mentioned before, animation on here is very, very bare bones. You can't have multiple layers within particular frames, and it just very clearly isn't made for animating anything complex. You can do very basic things on here, and there are some options that you can go and do things within under settings. There are like onion skins and things like that, which are useful, but you're not going to be wanting to do like any big animation on here. If you do want to do animation, I would heavily recommend using Calipeg. You can do multiple layers in that, and it's very good for what it does. It is on a subscription, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but I spent a lot of time looking for something good to animate in, and that was what came up top, so I thought I'd mention it in this video. And the last disadvantage isn't really one that affects me. I just don't use the Smudge Tool, but a lot of people complain about the Smudge Tool. They literally bring photos into Photoshop to finish them off if they do want to use the Smudge Tool. The app is also only available on the iPad and iPhone, so if you've got an Android device, whether it be a phone or a tablet, you're unfortunately out of luck. So yeah, even with those disadvantages, I think Procreate is absolutely brilliant and is the drawing tool on the iPad. And I just still haven't gotten over its price tag. I literally don't know how or why they kind of keep it at that price tag. But anyway, I'm not complaining. I would have happily paid more for this, but as I said, like, keep it there. I'm happy that I only had to pay £10. So yeah, if you want to draw on the iPad, and even if you have the Adobe CC subscription like me, I would absolutely still recommend getting Procreate. I really cannot recommend it enough, and I am absolutely not sponsored in this video either. But yeah, what do you all think? I mean, I know pretty much everyone who draws on the iPad uses Procreate, but if you don't, let me know why you don't, I guess. And if you do, let me know what your favourite feature is on Procreate. But anyway, that's my review of Procreate and my kind of walkthrough of the features within it. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one, as well as other videos discussing the creation of animation. But for now, I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all stay safe out there. Keep brightening up the world with your art, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.